Okay, so this one was the last one that we did was the FOIL. And remember we had so many different combinations, the 1 and the 12 and the 2 and the 6, and we had to skip over to 3 to the 4. And we had a lot of OIs, 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 OIs. We're going to do this as the AC method, just to show that you'll get the same answer and doesn't take as long as the shortcut method, or as the FOIL method took us. So we have 3 terms. Remember, you always look to see if there was a GCF. We found out there was no GCF, remember? No matching set of parentheses, letter, letter, no letter, number, no number, and doesn't start with a negative. So once you realize that there is no GCF, I slip in a 1 here just so that you remember that there is a middle number here. It's a negative 1. So how to do the arch? Remember, we're going to multiply the first term in the coefficient with the last term. And this last term happens to be a constant. So when we multiply or do that arch, this is why I call it the arch method, because you're going to multiply this with this. We're going to get a pretty large number. That's okay, because remember, you're allowed to have a calculator. So 12 times 20, big number, 240. The second step says, do all the combos of 240. Now because 240 is a large number, what I want you to do is just go in order. Start with 1, so you know that 1 and 240 works. 2, and again, just use your calculator. 240 divided by 2, 120. Divided by 3, divided by 4, divided by 5. Now again, this might take you some time. Don't let that bother you. All you're doing is just going straight in order. 6, 7, now that finally give me a decimal point. 8, 9, thank God 9 doesn't work. 10, 11, no. 12, well we know 12 works, because we just did it, 12 times 20. 13, no. 14, no. 15, yes. And then 16, already up on the board. So I got every single combo. Yes, there's a lot of them. But we're not doing trial and error. We're going to narrow this list to see if there's one that works. So remember, step 2 was to do the combo list of that arch when you multiply. I didn't do the combo of 12 or 20. I multiplied to get 240, and that's the combo I did. Once I did the combo list, step 3 says, let's see if we need to add or subtract. Last sign is a minus sign, so that means I'm going to subtract each of our combos. So when I subtract, remember I told you this before. Each one is going to give us a unique number. So a lot of people say, well, do I have to subtract every single one of these if I know that 15 minus 16 will give me the 1? No. I said only one of them will give you the one that matches, if this can be factorable. But if you're not sure, you could go down the whole list, grab your calculator, subtract each one. You can see each number is different from the other guy. You can see there is no duplicates. And the 1. So we're going to next choose a combo. Notice, to choose a combo, it has to match the coefficient of the middle term of the trinomial. So we saw that the middle coefficient is -1. The only number that gives me a 1, forget about the sign issue, is the 15 and 16. Alright, so now that we chose our combo, step 5, the split. Remember, this is going to become 2 terms where 15 and 16 are the new coefficients. So see this one? Goodbye. No more 1. We're going to have the coefficient as 15 and 16 now. But you got to bring down the variable part. Okay, the coefficient goes away, but the variable part has to come down to both of them. So notice it's an x, so it's going to be x for this guy and this guy, 15x and 16x. Okay, so now we got the split. Now step 6, we need to do the sign of the split. Remember the sign of the split. These either are going to be same or they're going to be different. Always look at the last sign. Remember how we said anytime you subtract your combos, when it comes to sign issues, they're always going to be different signs, just like we had in the shortcut method. So the 15 and 16 will be different from each other. So one of these gets a plus, and one of these gets the opposite, the minus. How to determine who gets what? I always told you, take the higher number, 16, shoot up the ladder, see what that one has. The higher number will always get the same sign as the middle. So you'll get a negative 16, and then that way you get a positive 15. Because positive 15 minus 16x will give us the negative 1x. Once you got the correct signs for the split, step 7, bring down the first term. Bring down that last term, that constant. Notice, I'll rewrite it out again, that we have exactly 4 terms. We are done with the arch method. Not done factoring, because remember, arch method doesn't do any factoring. All it does is makes it into a grouping problem. If you remember grouping, parentheses around the first 2 terms, parentheses around the last 2 terms. Make sure the sign is included in the second parentheses. Step 2, take out the GCF in the first set of parentheses. Hopefully you see that they both have an x, and they both have a hidden 3. Remember, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5. If you did a tree diagram, they both have a 3 in common. So we're going to take out the GCF of 3x. And then once you divide this by 3x and 3x, you'll get your leftovers of 4x plus 5. In this set of parentheses, do we have a GCF? Yes. What's our GCF? It's not parentheses, it's not letters, it's numbers. You should know that they're both divisible by 4. Okay, 16 would be 2, 2, 2, 2. 20 is 2, 2, 5. They both have 2 2s or 4 in common. Now, notice it starts as a negative. Remember, anytime that we're doing this, bring this term down anyway as part of the GCF. So your GCF is not just 4, it's negative 4. That way, when you divide each term by negative 4, you'll get a positive 4x. You'll get a positive 5. When you get a positive 4x plus 5, it matches this 4x plus 5. Because we found combo, we know these have to match. Remember in the grouping method, they become one set of parentheses. 4x plus 5. And you know the other binomial would be the GCFs that we found from step 2 and step 3. 3x minus 4. This is the same answer that we got with the FOIL method. Not as frustrating, just extra steps. So hopefully you like this method when it comes to the ones that have a leading coefficient and their 3 terms.